Hi, everyone. My name is Desiree Wilson. I am an MSGIST student at the University of Arizona. I also work on a project called My NASA Data, where I am a scientific analyst for the team, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about the project because it really inspired me for this project that I created for this class. I'm joining you now live from Newport News, Virginia, which is where I'm located. And I'm excited to share with you my project for GIST 909, which is designing a web GIS application for K through 12 science educators to incorporate Earth observations in curriculum. So the outline for this presentation, I'll be giving you a little bit of background information about Earth science education in the United States and why bringing authentic Earth science data into the classroom is so important. We'll go over the methods for developing the web application. I'll give you a quick live demo of the application, and I'll share with you the results and next steps for this project. So to give you a little bit of background information about this project, Earth science education is really crucial for giving students the ability to become informed decision makers in our society. It really helps them develop problem-solving skills, and it promotes data literacy, which is the ability to infer meaning from data. And yeah, it helps them become informed decision makers in many topics, such as technology, environmental issues, healthcare choices, and things like that. But some of the trends we're seeing in earth science education specifically is that there tends to be a shortage of high quality learning experiences. And what we mean by that is that earth science is often taught very passively through textbooks. And now teachers are really being encouraged to create what we call authentic science experiences for students. And what that means is creating opportunities for students to engage in science in the ways that scientists do. So this could include analyzing and interpreting data, designing their own experiments, engaging in evidence-based reasoning, and so on. So how can we help earth science educators to create some of these more meaningful, authentic science experiences for students? Well, one way we can do that is by incorporating authentic earth science data into the classroom. So giving students the ability to work with the same data sets that scientists use. Many federal agencies such as NASA and NOAA house petabytes of authentic earth science data collected via remote sensing satellite. And these data are freely available to the public. We are really living in a golden age of Earth observations. And by making these data more broadly accessible to the K through 12 community, we can better prepare the next generation of STEM professionals. So that leads us to the problem. How do we make these rich data resources accessible to Earth science educators and their students? Many of you are probably familiar with the fact that a lot of these data are only available for download in raster formats like HDF, NetCDF files. And in order to analyze them, you have to use either GIS software or scripting. And that is just a really difficult ask to place that on teachers at this time. So how can we help them and bring this data into the classroom? Well, one NASA-funded project, it's called My NASA Data, is working to do this. So they want to bridge the gap between NASA's Earth science data assets and teachers in the classroom. And I'm fortunate to work on this project. I am the team's scientific analyst. A lot of what we do is developing lesson plans that incorporate authentic data that teachers can just use in the classroom. But one of our main offerings for a long time has been a data visualization tool where the teachers and students can go in themselves into this tool and generate maps, create graphs, different charts. They can download the data as a CSV file for their own use or for their own research projects. And it's been a very reliable tool for a long time. But unfortunately, we have learned that this data visualization tool is nearing the end of its life. So it's maintained by another group, and they've told us that in the near future, they're no longer going to be supporting this. They're moving on to other projects. And so it's likely that it will eventually go down and we will not be able to bring it back up. And as you can see from the image, the tool it's quite old and the interface is a bit dated. But that led me to my project goal for this class. I wanted to see if I could develop a web application that could be used by K through 12 educators and students to analyze earth science data sets in the event that my NASA Data's current visualization tool goes down and we no longer have access to it. So I decided to develop this application in Google Earth Engine, which is a great platform for publishing WebGIS applications. You can customize different user interface elements and make the application accessible via URL. It's free for non-commercial use, and they really have an extensive developer's guide to help you learn how to do all of this. So for the methods, I first assessed educators' needs. I wanted to see what features educators would prefer to have in a new data visualization tool. And so I came up with several criteria that would be achievable for the scope of this project. And the criteria I came up with were the ability to, first off, house historical monthly data sets. I'd like to include filtering capabilities so educators could filter by different earth science disciplines or filter by date. We wanted to include the ability for teachers to create graphs. So I include the feature to create a time series graph. And then I also wanted to give them the ability to download the data and provide plain language descriptions of the data so that they could learn about them without a lot of scientific jargon. So the data I chose to include in the app are a subset of data sets that are currently featured on the My NASA Data website. These are some of the most popular data sets that are accessed by teachers. And I chose a selection across different disciplines. I call them Earth system spheres to test out some of the filtering capabilities in Google Earth Engine. And then continuing on with the methods, I did have to do a little bit of data processing. So I had to convert the data that was in netcdf file format. I had to convert it into GeoTIFF format in order to upload it to Google Earth Engine. And then it was just a matter of developing the application. So I created user interface elements in the Google Earth Engine's code editor. And with that, I'm going to give you a quick demo of the application. So when you first arrive onto the application's landing page, we have our blank map, and the teachers will be prompted to select a sphere of the Earth system. And so this is how I categorized the different data sets I included in this application. We have the atmosphere, biosphere, cryosphere, geosphere, and hydrosphere. So if we select one of these spheres, say atmosphere, then the teacher is asked to load the data set the data sets available for the atmosphere. So here we have 2 data sets. Maybe they're interested in monthly surface air temperature. And then from there, they just select the date. It'll generate the list of years available for the data set and the month. And once we select our month, the data will load onto the map. So this is showing global surface air temperature for July of 2022. And this is a monthly average. And you'll see up at the top, it's now added a legend so that we can interpret this data, and it provides a plain language description of the data set in case the teacher or the student is unfamiliar with what this data represents. And after we've loaded this initial map, we also have some added features at the bottom. I included the ability to create a time series graph, which they can access by clicking this time plot button. And what this will do is it will generate a graph to show how the values in that data set have changed over time in one specific location. So they are first prompted to enter in a latitude and longitude. And so if I enter in a random latitude and longitude here, it will place a point on the map indicating the location I've chosen. And then they're prompted to select a start and end date for the graph. So maybe they're interested in looking at, say, 10 years worth of data. So we will look at 2010 to 2020. And then they just need to hit the generate plot button. And it will generate this time series graph for our location to show how the values change. And I know this is very tiny on the screen, but we do have the ability to open it up into a new window so we can see it better. And it's very clear here. We can see a seasonal trend going on in the data and can hover over the values. This is a really, really powerful tool to include in a data visualization tool for educators because they really like working with quantitative data with their students. And so this can lead to students, doing their own research projects or extending their analysis and practicing some statistical analysis. And we also provide the ability to download this data as a CSV so that they can work with it further. So it's a really powerful feature for educators. We can close this, and then to exit these time plot options, there's an exit button at the bottom. You can go back to any step in this and change the date or different features. I did want to mention the last thing down at the bottom is they do have the option to download the image on the map or download a one GeoTIFF file for the data that's currently presented on the map. And so that is a really quick demo of this application. I'm going to move back to the slide deck because I still have a few more slides to get through. I did want to mention for the results of this project, I did present this web application to MyNASA data stakeholders, a large group comprised mostly of education specialists. And I asked them if they felt this would be a suitable tool to be used by earth science educators. And the feedback was really overwhelmingly positive. They did feel that this would be a suitable tool. And when I asked them if there were any features that would be necessary to include before publishing or testing with teachers, the only feedback I received was that they'd really appreciate including dataset sources to be listed in the description. So identifying the NASA mission that the data came from. And then they'd just like a larger collection of data data sets to choose from. And then the rest were not necessary for publishing, but it was sort of a wish list of features they'd love to see included eventually. And so some of the popular ones were the ability to select common map extents, the ability to generate different kinds of plots like scatter plots, and the ability to compare two maps side by side. So in conclusion, Google Earth Engine is a suitable platform for making authentic Earth science data accessible to educators. And it provides students with the opportunity to engage in authentic science practices and investigate real problems. Some of the capabilities of Google Earth Engine, though, they are limited to just the Earth Engine JavaScript API. So there is that limitation in that you can't import other packages, that you have to work with Earth Engine's API. And the next steps for this project, I'd really like to see this web application eventually be adopted by the MineNASA Data project. We're looking into that. We have to investigate NASA's export control regulations to see what we need to do in order to publish a link to the application on the website. But then aside from that, I'll be focused on increasing the number of data sets and features of the web application. And then we'd love to do some teacher testing in the classroom to get their feedback and make revisions. And then eventually I'd love to be able to conduct professional development trainings with teachers using this application. And that's all I have for you today for this presentation. I do have the application URL here on the slide. You can visit it. It is public, so you're welcome to visit it, play around with the features and tools. And if you'd like to discuss this further or learn more about it, you're welcome to contact me at my work email or schedule office hours with me on the MineNASA Data website. Thank you.